Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Cutting Edge Figure Skating Podcast. My name is Kim Dunaway, and in this episode, I've got some bonus coverage. I'll be talking about Japanese nationals. Now, this won't be like some of my typical recaps because I do not have access to all of the videos from Japanese nationals, so I'll just be talking about those skaters and programs that I was able to see. I'm going to start with the women because that was the competition that I was able to get the most videos of and also was by far and away the most competitive and well skated of the events at Japanese nationals. I don't care what anyone says, even at the peak of Russian women, I don't know that they were even as competitive as the Japanese women are right now. I definitely gave them a big shout out at the end of last season because not only do they have so many fantastic women at both the senior and juniors levels, but the programs that these ladies are doing are so fantastic. Choreography, the overall skating skills, they're just really the best in the world. And so it was amazing to watch some of the people at this competition finish 12th, 13th, 14th, and they would probably win in a lot of countries with these very same skates. Start with the winner, and that was Kaori Sakamoto winning her fourth national title in a row. She now matches Satoka Miyahara, who won 4 national titles from 2014 to 2017. And she'll have a chance to win 5 in a row come next season. It's 2 really strong skates for her at this competition. In this short program, she did not have any rotation issues, which, like we have seen really all season, it was an epidemic here, just like we've seen a lot throughout the Grand Prix. But none for Kaori in the short program. She does her combo in the second half, what really helps her with the technical score. This program has improved a lot. Still not my fave, but it's come a long way from where I feel like it was at the beginning of the season. Her free skate, she scored 149 points here without a triple-triple combo, which is pretty impressive. Usually when it gets to national season, I remind everybody, you can't really pay attention to national scoring. They're usually very inflated. Japan has always sort of been the exception to that. They usually are pretty stingy with their scores, with their skaters. However, this season, I don't feel like that was the case. I don't feel like it was just crazy overscoring like we see at most national championships, at US, at Canadians. But I do feel like it's a lot higher than what we have seen scoring in the past. This is not the first time that she has done a free skate this year and not gotten a triple off. We've really not seen Kaori at her best most of this season outside of an NHK. She skated very well at home. The question is going to be, how is she going to skate in Boston a few months from now? But she definitely didn't have anybody that was really coming for her at this competition. The closest competitor to her was a second place finisher, and that was Mao Shimada. She has been third the last 2 seasons at Japanese senior nationals, and she moves up to the second spot this season. She has by far and away been the strongest woman in juniors for this entire Olympic quad, and she has basically, I think, the second highest score of the season in terms of the senior ladies as well. In her short program, very timely, she skates to Defying Gravity from Wicked, not this movie version that we have currently, but the Kristen Chenoweth version from the musical. I have actually not seen the movie. I know a lot of people have seen it like multiple times. I've heard great things about it. I saw the Broadway show a few years back when it came to Nashville. And while I think it's a great production, I just don't love the story. So I haven't seen the movie. I will see it when it comes like on streaming, and we'll see if I feel like everybody else has, not to just digress too much. But obviously, it's a huge movie that has been, at least here in the US this year, and so for her to be skating to music from it is very timely for that. She has a really long setup at the beginning of her short program because she does a triple axel, but it does pay off. She did land it. She did get a Q on it. She also does a triple Lutz triple toe in her second half as well. So while she was 11th in PCS, not that she has bad artistry at all, it's just that there's so many good skaters in Japan that have artistry far superior to what she's bringing to the table, even though she's got very good artistry for a junior lady. She was first in technical elements by quite a bit. In her free skate, she went for a quad toe in her free skate, and she did have a really bad fall on it. She also got an undercall on her triple axel in the free skate. Everything else, though, was very strong. She did 2 triple combinations. She did a triple flip, double axel combo late. So big scores for her on the technical elements. And as I mentioned in this short program, I think her artistry is really strong for a junior skater. But of course, if you compare it to so many ladies at this event, it definitely falls short. It's actually kind of a bummer for her that she's been stuck in juniors this whole Olympic quad. I hope that she can hold on to some of these elements that she has and does so well when she'll finally be able to skate at the senior level in the 2026-27 season, which is crazy to say. And completing the podium in third place was Wakaba Higuchi. And I got to tell you, if it wasn't for Amber coming out and winning 4 international competitions this season, Wakaba would be the story of the fall, because she has been so incredibly consistent, coming out, winning at Skate America, making it to Grand Prix final, finishes just outside the medals at Grand Prix final, gets a big win over her Japanese teammate Mona Chiba here, who just beat her at Grand Prix final. Could not be more thrilled for Wakaba. In the short program, she got a call yet again, a Q call on that triple toe and an unclear edge on the triple flip. She just skates with a lot of speed and a lot of intensity in this dune short program. In the free skate, she left some points on the table with a double Salchow that she did early in the program. 2 Qs again, basically on those same 2 jumps, I think. Basically, that's kind of been all season. The big takeaway here is that she was second in PCS, which I think is huge for Wakaba, because that's been a place that she's been stuck behind a lot of the other top skaters like Isabeau or some of her other Japanese teammates. So for her to get the nod of approval from Team Japan here, I think is really huge for her and will help her in the second half of the season, combined with this consistency that we see from her. If she can just figure out a way to rotate that triple toe on that Lutz toe combo, she would be money right now. But even with the Q and the double Salchow, she was able to move from third to fourth, and she is on to the Worlds team, which is super exciting. In fourth place was Mona Chiba. And in the short program, I thought, man, she just looks primed to get on the podium at Worlds this season. She had level 4s on everything, no calls. I think she's just so good at finishing her moves in general. Free skate was not her strongest performance. I don't know what happened on her triple Salchow. It was the second jump in her program, just really badly under-rotated, and she fell. However, she did not panic. She bounced right back and did the rest of her program content. She did get some undercalls late, and that 3 jump combo that she does was also kind of shaky, but she did enough to get fourth and get a place on the podium. I think like this music that she uses in the free skate is very forgettable. I do think that she uses the accents in the music very well. And I'm just so happy that she has more expression in her face this season than what she did last year. I think it's just really brought a lot to her performance this year. In fifth place was Rino Matsuke. Her short program, she finally went clean, which is what we've been waiting for her all season. But then she ended up with an undercall on her triple Lutz. It was still good enough to get almost 72 points, and she was in fourth place going into the free skate. In her free skate, I don't even care that it wasn't perfect. She didn't have any major errors. She got undercalls on both of her Lutz passes, one on the triple toe and one on the solo Lutz. but everything just looks so effortless and flowy. Her glide is just gorgeous. This is, to me, one of the top programs this season. She just kind of sucks you into her performance. It's just almost mesmerizing. And I'm very excited that although she didn't do enough to get on the world team, we will see her at Four Continents. I'll talk about that at the end. In sixth place here was Mako Yamashita. Did not see her short program, but her free skate, she was skating to a cover of Creep, which I love. I think it's totally great music to skate to. I think a lot of skaters probably don't skate to it because it says, like, what the hell am I doing a couple of times in the lyrics. But it's a really, really nice song. And I don't find her as well polished as some of the other Japanese skaters, but she was really rock solid on her jumps. She landed everything, just got one Q and one unclear edge, and she got level 4s on everything, which I found throughout this competition. There was a lot of that. Not that they were just handing out level 4s to everybody, because we did see level 3s here and there, level 2 if need be, but for a lot of it, for a year that we've really seen a lot of struggle on getting full value on spins, the Japanese ladies really knocked that element out of the park here. In seventh place was Rinka Watanabe. In her short program, she went clean also, like so many others did. But again, it was the calls. She ended up with a Q on her triple lutz and on her triple loop, and that caused her to be under some of the other ladies going into the free skate. She started off that free skate with a gorgeous triple axel. Like, it was kind of like it was at Four Continents last year. Like, it just kind of came. It's not an element that she's been doing this season, but said at Skate America she might do it later in the season. And here at Nationals is absolutely where you've got to throw out everything that you've got to try to make it onto that world team. And she didn't get a call on it either. I think it was the only clean triple axel that we had in the event. The first half of this free skate was exactly what she wanted, but it was the second half that really let her down. And it started with that second triple lutz. It always seems to get her. And it was under rotated. She stepped out of her second triple loop. And she also only got a level 3 on her final 3 elements after I just gave them compliments. For a lot of ladies getting level 4s on everything, she definitely left some points on the table on her step sequence in 2 of her spins. So unfortunately for her, ended up in 7th and does not have a world spot or a Four Continent spot either. In 8th place was Rion Sumiyoshi. Her short program is just such a beautiful program. The only issue was her double axel. It was just a little off center and 2-footed. She almost put her hand down, but she didn't. She was so bummed because, man, it's like we've seen in so many competitions this season where getting a level 2 on a spin instead of a level 4 on a spin, turning out of a jump is like the difference between you being 1st or 5th. And here it was the difference between her being probably in the top 4 or 5 and being 8th overall. In the free skate, had, again, not her best free skate. I feel like her free skate has let her down most of this season. Love the Pure Mudes music that she's skating to. She under-rotated her triple Salchow really bad and fell and ended up with an undercall on 2 of her other jumps, which was very costly. Didn't have any major mistakes. She had the one fall, but still, she scored just shy of 128 points in this free skate, and she was 12th with 128 points. Pretty sure 128 points would have won U.S. Nationals last year. It was kind of a rough free skate last year. Maybe it wasn't that bad. I'll have to go back and look at some of the totals. But it's wild that, unfortunately for her, she did fall, but still, she's just 2 really gorgeous programs. Another one that has really nice programs, and unfortunately for her, just doesn't do enough to get any assignments. In 9th place was Saki Miyake. She's not competed internationally. I really enjoyed her short program. She was skating to Think of Me from the Phantom of the Opera. She get really nice distance on her jumps. She has really nice positions on her spins. I really liked her program. She kind of reminds me a little bit of Yuna Aoki in that they kind of bring that long program feel to the short program where they're still able to tell a story in a very short period of time. Her free skate, I thought she had great music choices, but I thought the choreography in this program was forgettable compared to the short program. In 10th place was Karoko Wada. Again, no short program, but her free skate, she's skating to Titanic. It's a lot of different pieces of music from the Titanic. I think they could have picked maybe like 2 or 3 pieces instead of several different. Even that, her editor is amazing. I thought it flowed together actually pretty well for having as many pieces as they chose. She has what I describe as an aggressive toe pick on her toe jumps, like the flip, the lutz. It's just like she like really just like hammers it in there before she goes up. She doesn't have a lot of facial expression. Really love that last layback spin. She had great speed on it. In 11th place here was definitely one of the disappointments, and that was Hana Yoshida. The field here, way tougher than the field was at Finlandia Trophy that she won just a little over a month ago. Her short program, I thought she skated with a lot of confidence. It was clean. She got level 4s on everything, but was another victim for a cue call, and that was on her triple lutz. So she ended up with a 68.42, which put her in 9th place. And then in the free skate, she stepped out of her triple axel, which I don't think she's landed cleanly all season, at least not in the competitions that I have seen her in. She ended up with a cue call on it as well. She had a double loop in there somewhere, which she just could not afford to make any mistakes. She needed to go out there and skate really clean. She got several cue calls on her late jumping passes, just too tight. I think she was just trying too hard. You know, he had so much on the line. She was at Grand Prix final. She did win a Grand Prix. She was absolutely in the running for a world spot. And I'm sure coming in 9th place, she felt like she knew she needed to land everything to really have a chance. And frankly, I feel a bit harsh in saying this, but without the triple axel, I just don't think that she's bringing enough to the table. There's so many really good Japanese women. She doesn't have the artistry that Reina Masuke has, or Yuna Aoki has, or even Rion Sumiyoshi has. And so she really needs the jumps to work with for her in order for her to get that edge over the other ladies. And it just didn't happen for her here at Japanese Nationals. In 12th place was Yuna Aoki, who apparently is retiring. The word is that she finished school last year and had planned on retiring then, decided to try one more year, and that 1 year is up. However, I think the latest word is that she's going to talk it over with her coaches and decide if maybe she might go one more year. It's always odd for me to retire a year before the Olympics, like 2 years before the Olympics, I get, but to retire a year before the Olympics is a little bit odd, but I get it. It's super tough to try to get out of Japan. So we'll see ultimately what she decides, but word is that she could be retiring. And if that's the case, this is going to be the last that we will see of her. I think she definitely has a career as a choreographer if she wants it. She always makes fantastic programs for herself. In her short program, I noticed she's got this really awkward leg wrap when she does her jumps, which I really haven't noticed before, even when I was watching her at Skate America. And I wonder if that's why she's so inconsistent with her jumps at times. I do think that this program has to be the best tango program of this season. Definitely of the single skaters in both men and women's disciplines, in my opinion. I love the dramatic head movements that she has. She almost fell out of her camel spin, and that caused her to get a level 2 on it. She also ended up with a Q on her triple lutz. Even with those 2 minor things, she was still in 6th place going into the free skate. But in the free skate, just right off the bat, did a double lutz instead of a triple lutz. And then she kind of picked in like she was going to go for a combo, and then she thought better of it. Did not get a lot of GOE on the jumps that she did land well. She ended up sitting down on her triple lutz late in the program. She went for triple flip, triple loop as her last jumping pass, but she ended up getting undercalls on both of those jumps. So while she was 4th in PCS, she was 19th in technical elements. And so that caused her to drop to 12th. Other people that are notables here, Monica Wabe was behind her in 13th place. We haven't seen her this season because she did not get Grand Prix assignments this season. And it's unfortunate to see her here because she was literally just at the Olympics 3 seasons ago. She was one of the 3 with Wakaba and with Kaori. And there they are still on the podium and doing well. And Mana is really struggling. And the other person I'll mention is Mai Mihara, who was 23rd after the short program. Japanese senior ladies have so many people that they actually have a cutoff, kind of like Worlds. Like if you're not in the top 24, you do not make the free skate and move on. Mai Mihara did qualify for the free skate, barely. She had 2 falls in her short program. She did a double Lutz triple toe instead of a triple Lutz triple toe, and then she fell on the triple toe, and then she also fell on her triple flip later and ultimately withdrew from the competition. It's also been rumored, I haven't seen anything definitive, that she was potentially retiring after the end of the season as well, and we'll see what comes of that. All right, so I'll move on from the ladies to the men. The winner was Yuma Kageyama. This was actually his first national title win. Did not see his short program, but in his free skate, the first half was just so good. You could really see him take his time. He landed his quad flip, quad salchow, quad toe, triple axel Euler, triple salchow. The second half wasn't as strong jumping wise. He stepped out of his quad toe and did a triple flip, double axel instead of the triple flip, triple loop that he's been doing at times this season. And that double axel that he did was double footed badly. Even with that, I think this is the best free skate that he has done this season. I think he's really trending in the right direction. I think of the top men, if we're talking about Elia and Adam, he has the best program of the 3. I mean, I think the Vampire program is fun. I think the Dune program is interesting, but I will take Yuma's free skate all day over both of those programs. And he was very excited to get over 200 points. It's the first time he's been over 200 points this season. Second place here was Ryo Nakata of Japan. They're all of Japan. And he was fresh off of his performance at the Junior Grand Prix, where he was 3rd. He won the Junior Grand Prix final last season. And after performing well here, I think he's probably ready to move up. Frankly, in his short program, did a quad toe, triple toe, which they can't do in juniors. There's no quads in the short program in juniors. Love the connecting steps he did into his triple flip. In his free skate, he's skating to Pirates of the Caribbean or Caribbean, depending on where you're from, how you call it. And it was clean. Clean performance for him. Definitely deserved the silver medal here. After you get past those 2, it was, unfortunately, a lot of minning and very frustrating looking at a lot of the results. Didn't see a lot of programs from this point on, but I will talk about some of the notables anyway. In 3rd place was Tetsuya Tsuboi, who was 14th after the short program, after he did a single axel instead of a triple axel. And then he skated lights out in the free skate, even better than what he skated at NHK to get on the podium at bronze medal there. And he makes it onto the world team, which is an interesting choice. I feel like almost always with the Japanese men, especially, but we'll see it a lot of times with the ladies as well, that the 3 skaters that we were thinking going into Japanese nationals don't come out of Japanese nationals as those world team members. There's always several skaters that just kind of implode, don't have their best competition, and there's always a skater like Tetsuya here who just comes and skates and grabs himself a spot. It's an interesting choice for me because the only other international event that he was at this season besides NHK was the Asian Trophy, where he was 5th and he scored only 122 points in his free skate. So as comparison, he got 173 points here and 166 at NHK. So I feel like Japan is usually in a position where they can take a flyer. I say the same thing about the US a lot of times. You can take a flyer on that third person if you feel really confident about the first two people that you send. However, the other world member, Shun Sato, who we haven't gotten to yet because he didn't have a great competition here either, has actually never been at Worlds before. So the only person that is going that has been at Worlds before is Yuma. And you've got an Olympic season coming up, and the qualification is paramount. You've got to get to 13 to maintain those 3 spots. So if Yuma finishes in the top 3, you would need the other Japanese men to finish 10th, 11th, 12th, depending upon where Yuma finished in that top 3, assuming that Yuma finishes in the top 3, right? So do you have confidence that Shun can finish 10th, 11th, or 12th? He should, right? If he skates like he did here, he very well may not. And so it has to make you a little bit nervous that you just have one person who's been there before. It's a tough spot to be in. Kazuki's been there before. Cal's been there before. Neither one of them have skated 2 good programs at Worlds, and so I certainly understand Japan giving somebody else the opportunity. I just feel very much like I did 2 years ago when Yuma didn't get a world spot coming out of nationals. Like, why not wait until after 4 continents, get one more competition before you make that decision? But he, especially because even here, he only really had one good program. He was 14th after the short program, right? It would make me a little bit nervous. But he's headed to Worlds nonetheless, and we'll see how he does. In 4th place was Nobunori Oda, who is skating in his final Japanese nationals after taking several years off. He came back last season and came back here and almost made it onto the podium. In his short program, he has this like mini costume change with his sleeves where he just breaks out longer sleeves and sort of gives that like a flamboyant Spanish kind of style sleeves. It's very fun. In his free skate, he's skating to Angel by Robbie Williams, which is music I love. I think it's great for skating. Started off with a quad toe attempt. He did fall on it, but hey, I'm not mad at the attempt. He did do 2 triple axels in this performance, including one in combo with a triple Salchow. He was ecstatic. The crowd loved every moment. It was a really great way for him to go out. In 5th place was Kazuki Tomono. Did not see either one of his programs, but he was 3rd in the short and 8th in the free to end up right in the middle at 5th. He had problems on all 3 quad attempts in his free skate. 2 of them were falls and were ultimately downgraded. Everything else was good, but the quads gave him trouble here. In 6th place was Sina Miyake, who we last saw internationally at 4 continents in 2022. So it's been a while since we have seen him. Again, did not see any of his programs either. Nor did I see programs from the next 4 skaters, but we saw them and we saw them medal in the Grand Prix, so I'm going to talk about them. In 7th place was Shun Sato, who has to be thanking himself for finishing on the podium at Grand Prix final, because I think that's the only thing that saved his world spot here, because had he not, it very well might have been Kazuki going to Worlds instead of him. But as we have seen in the past, it happened 2 years ago with Sota Yamamoto, if you have competitors who've won a Grand Prix, they medal at Grand Prix final, they will get a pass if they don't do as well as nationals based upon the criteria that they have. And so Shun does end up making the world team, even with a really, really tough competition here. In the short program, he fell on his quad lutz, and then he fell on it again in the free skate. He also stepped out of his quad flip, stepped out of his quad toe, fell on a triple axel, triple Salchow combo. So he ends up falling 1 place from 6th to 7th with that. And like I said, was able to still salvage a spot on the world team based upon his resume this fall so far. That was not the case for our 8th place competitor, and that was Cal Mura. In his short program, he was actually 4th after the short, so he was within striking distance. He fell on his quad toe in the short program, but in the free skate, he just really unraveled, stepped out of his triple axel, doubled his quad sal, but a hand down on his second triple axel, tried to throw a quad toe later in the program, which to his credit, he had just landed a quad toe, triple toe, so why not? But then he fell on that. And he dropped majorly, obviously, finishing fourth after the short program to end up eighth overall. He does not get a world spot, which is, it's heartbreaking for me because we have seen Cal at different times this season skate so brilliantly, especially in the short program. The free skate has been tougher for him. And on one hand, I know he's got the injured hip. And so part of me is like, well, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for him to sit out the rest of the season and rest. But of course, that's not what's going to happen because he did get a spot for 4 continents. And so he doesn't get to rest. And so I'm like, well, would it be better to just send him to Worlds? He would have had more time to rest in between Nationals and Worlds than sending him out to 4 continents. Maybe he has the opportunity to withdraw if they feel like that's what's best. I don't know. It's just it breaks my heart. I'm actually kind of glad I didn't see the video of this. I think it would have been hard to watch. In 9th place was Koshiro Shimada, and in 10th place was Sota Yamamoto, who fell on the triple axel in his short program and had 3 falls in his free skate. Moving on to dance, the winners in dance were Yoshida and Morita. I have enjoyed this Prokofiev's Romeo and Juliet that they have done all season. I don't think that this was their cleanest performance of it, however. I thought that their twizzles weren't great. I really like their start to their 1-foot turn sequence that they do when they're not in complete unison. They're sort of facing each other. I just think it's really unique. There's another team that escapes me that's kind of doing that as well this season. I find that their choreography is a little bit simple at times, but I do think that they are the better team this season. And so they won here and they'll get the nod to go to Worlds. 2nd place was Tanaka and Nishiyama. Their free dance is mostly to Fur-Elise. They have a beautiful 1-foot turn sequence to start. I thought their pair spin really goes well with the music. And then right as the music sort of starts to get a little mundane from the Fur-Elise, it sort of changes tempo. And they have really nice unison just really throughout the whole program. I thought they maintained nice speed. They could probably use better ice coverage, but I thought it was a really nice and well-skated routine that they did here at Nationals. Didn't see any video from the pairs. The results were Mira and Kihara winning, which is not a surprise, but it is the first time that they've made it to Japan for Nationals since 2019. I feel like they went one other year, but maybe there was some kind of issue with their costumes didn't get there. There was some kind of issue, like they made it to Japan, but I feel like their costumes didn't make it. So for the first time in 5 years, they were in Japan with all of their equipment and all of their costumes, and they won Nationals. 2nd place was Nagioka and Moriguchi, who we saw on the Grand Prix this season, and they will also be at Worlds, which is very exciting. We're going to have at least 2 Japanese teams at Worlds this year. They do have 3 spots for Worlds, so the 3rd spot has been assigned to the 3rd place team here, which was Shimizu and Honda, who are junior skaters, and if they're going to go to Worlds, they're going to need minimums in order to get to Worlds, and so we'll see if they send them to a competition in the second half of the season in order to get minimums for Worlds. They were 5th at the junior Grand Prix final. So to go over the world team, I sort of peppered it in as we talked about it, but the world team for men is Yuma Kageyama, Shun Sato, and Tetsuya Tsuboi. The alternates are Kalmura first, Kazuki Tomono second, and then 3rd alternate is Sota Yamamoto. For the women, it is Kaori Sakamoto, Wakaba Higuchi, and Mona Chiba. First alternate is Rino Matsuke, 2nd is Rion Sumiyoshi, and 3rd is Hana Yoshida. Of course, in pairs, I just talked about that, and I just talked about dance as well. The 4 consonants team, for the men, we've got Kalmura, Kazuki Tomono, and Tetsuya Tsuboi, which is an interesting head-to-head matchup, because should Kalmura beat Tetsuya Tsuboi, what does that say? Just saying. All right. The alternates for 4 continents is Shun Sato, Koshiro Shimada. For the women, they're sending Mona Chiba again to defend her title. They're also sending Wakaba Higuchi and Rino Matsuke will go. The alternates there are Rion Sumiyoshi, Rinka Watanabe, and Mako Yamashita. In pairs, we have Miura and Kihara, Nagioka and Moriguchi. And then in dance, we have both of the top two teams, Yoshida and Morito, and Tanaka and Nishiyama. So what a fun event that was, especially in the women's, because it was so well skated. The men's was unfortunately kind of a big disappointment. All right, so the next nationals that I will be covering will be Canadian Nationals, and that will be in just a couple of weeks, January 14th through the 19th. And after that will be U.S. Nationals the following week. The following week after that will be Europeans, and then a couple weeks after that will be 4 continents in Korea. As always, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. I'll be back real soon with my top 10 moments from 2024. I hope everybody has a fantastic new year. Be safe. I hope you have some good goals going in to 2025. I read 51 books in 2024, which I know you're probably thinking, why not just 52? Well, my goal was 48. And I did have a couple skating books in there. Next season, I think I'm actually probably going to read less books because I've got a lot of professional things I need to get done. And I will have the goal to try to make it to Worlds and Skate America once again. Those are going to be like my skating 2025 goals. All right, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I'll talk to you again soon.